This is the new half-inch cordless router from Milwaukee. My name's Simon Bowler and I'm going to put it through its paces. Let's take a look at what you get in the box. Obviously, you get the main event, the M18 fuel half-inch router, currently mounted to its standard base. In addition to that, you get a plunge base. More on that a little bit later on in the video. It also comes with some extra collets, 6mm, 8mm, 12mm, 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. That just means you can put pretty much any router bit you want in the machine with ease. It comes with an edge guide, 2 spanners, some dust extraction ports and a spare base. All of that is very neatly packaged in one of Milwaukee's legendary Packout boxes. Whilst the motor is out of its bases, let's take a little look at it. It's pretty big. For comparison, to put some scale on it, that's the 1/4 inch one. Measurably bigger, not surprisingly. 2¼ horsepower. There's a lot of other features on it as well, all of which are very good. Micro adjuster, speed between 1 and 6, but you can choose anywhere in between 1 and 6. You're not limited to those specific numbers. 2 LED work lights, on-off switch obviously, and a spindle lock. So what looks quite simple is actually very well considered and very, very convenient and easy to use. Let's take a closer look at the bases then. The standard base, this one. This is unique. This has got a feature on it that, as far as I'm aware, isn't present on any other cordless half-inch router or any other half-inch router for that matter, and that is this fabric side handle. That means you can use the router comfortably and confidently one-handed. To install the router into the standard base, it is as simple as drop it in and press a button. It's no more complicated than that. That then allows you to operate the micro adjuster knob, and once you've got it set to the right height, lock it off with that very well engineered chunky lever there. It's as simple as that. Essentially, in this current setup, it works like a giant trim router, and it is giant. Let's put some scale on it. That's the 1/4 inch router, and that's the 1/2 inch router. Both brilliant machines. This one is an absolute brute. Now let's take a look at the plunge base. The plunge base then, this is the component that turns the router into a more traditional and operating machine, one that you're more likely to be familiar with seeing. It's got a lot of features, most of them pretty standard, depth adjuster, scales on the side, but I think the thing that I like most is the fact that it's permanently locked until you press the lever and then it plunges. You can hold the lever open, plunge it to your heart's content, or you can stop it wherever you want. The other thing I like is how fast it is to go from the standard base to the plunge base. Lift the motor out, drop the motor in and lock it off. Done. Okay, let's talk about batteries. So it's an M18 fuel machine. That means you can run it on any M18 battery you choose. We've got a 4 amp hour one here. It's relatively small, not the smallest that they do, but on the smaller side. And it'll run just fine on that. The other end of the spectrum would be this. That's a 12 amp hour high output battery. This is the one that we choose to use in the 305mm crosscut saw. It does fit. It will run perfectly happily, but it makes it somewhat bulky. So the battery of choice for me, for this machine, would be an 8 amp hour high output M18 battery. That gives me a happy medium between lightweight and portability and long runtime. The high output bit, that's also important as well. So fuel, that's the term given to the Milwaukee top end tools. Fuel is the way that the machine talks to the battery via RedLink Plus technology. In short, in simple terms, when the machine needs a bit more juice from the battery says, no problem, and delivers said juice. It's that simple. There's probably a bit more to it than that, but that's the short, succinct version. That's the battery that I choose to use in this 1/2 inch router. So now we've looked at pretty much everything there is to look at on the 1/2 inch router. I promised you earlier that I would test it to its limits, and that's what we're going to do now. So I've set it up in the plunge base with the edge guide and a straight cut bit. And we're going to test that in a piece of green oak, solid oak. We're going to set it to a depth of 15 millimeters, then a depth of 30 millimeters, and then we're going to go full send as deep as we can get it, and let's see if it can make that cut in one pass. We haven't tried this yet. Let's see what happens. So we've set it to 15 mil. Let's see what happens when we put it through a piece of fresh sawn solid oak. Not surprisingly, no stress, no drama. Right, 30 millimeters. This is likely to be a bit more of a challenge, but my expectations are high, so let's see what happens. $30 mil, bit more of a challenge, but now let's go full send 50 mil. Here we go then, 50 mil in one pass. Now I must stress, this is not what you're supposed to be doing, but in the interests of pushing the machine to the limit to see what it's capable of, let's have a go. Well, I think you can agree that that really is corded power in a cordless machine. 50 mil, full depth, one pass. That's all I've got to say on that, really. So there we go, cordless M18 fuel 1/2 inch router. You've seen what you get in the box, you've seen it in action, you've seen it pushed to its limits, and it is impressive. But it begs the question, do I need a cordless router? If you're in the market for a new 1/2 inch router, in my opinion, there is no reason to go down the corded route. Battery technology these days means you've got just as much power as a corded machine, but with the convenience of no wires, no extensions, no trip hazards, none of that. So the answer to the question is yes. Battery power is the future, and that stands for 1/2 inch routers as well.